What is a healthy profit margin for digital creators and online businesses? That's the question we are going to answer today on the Profit Pillar Show. I'm your host, Parker Stevenson, CEO of Evolved Finance and author of the book Profit Pillars. Let's jump right in. I think one of the most common questions I get as a quote unquote financial expert for small businesses is how profitable should my business be? Because there are different profit expectations for every different kind of industry you're in, right? There's going to be different expectations for a physical retail business versus a tech startup or versus a coaching business or even an online service business. And we're going to talk about profit margins for online service businesses, which are a little bit of a different beast. But for these digital creator-based businesses or online-based businesses, the opportunity in these businesses actually lie in the profit margins. It's something I talk a lot about in our book, Profit Pillars. But let's get on the same page around what is a digital creator business or what is an online business, just so we're all on the same page about the expectations I have for profit margins in these businesses, because I don't want you to be running a completely different business and go, well, Parker said I should be. No, we're going to be talking about profit margins for a very popular group of businesses, but definitely not the only type of small business that's out there. So we're typically going to be seeing digital creators and online businesses revolve around online education of some sort. So these types of businesses are going to be selling courses or coaching programs or membership sites or digital downloads of some sort. They might also be more of an influencer model where maybe they don't really have any digital products, but they make their money off of royalties, sponsorship deals, brand deals. Also, we work with a lot of authors and public speakers who typically are going to have digital offers or coaching-based offers or consulting offers, but might also make money from speaking and book deals, things like that. So these are the types of businesses we're talking about here. The types of businesses where you don't need a massive team like you would with a service-based business. Like, for instance, Evolved Finance is an accounting firm. So we have a lot of team members. Like we have big team costs. The types of businesses we're talking about for this episode, digital creators, online businesses, they still have teams and the teams can get expensive, but the business isn't so much revolved around the team delivering a service. Again, selling educational information products, digital products, sponsorships, royalties, things like that. So for these types of businesses, what should the profit margin be, or how profitable should they be? Well, what we talk about in the book Profit Pillars and what we teach our clients at Evolve Finance is we want these businesses to have a 30% profit margin or better. And big emphasis on better, because the opportunity with businesses like these are that you can have a really great profit margin as your business scales, which is something a lot of other businesses can't really do. Now, the downside for a business like this is they tend to be less sellable. Now, we've had clients definitely sell online businesses or digital creator-based businesses, but the more the business revolves around you as the face of the business, the harder it is to sell. Now, your business is ultimately worth what someone's willing to pay for it. So if you find just the absolute perfect buyer, then sure, you might be able to sell your online business one day. But compared to a lot of other business models, the sales price tends to be a fraction of the revenue that's generated from a business like that. Versus, you think about Silicon Valley tech startups, they can go for, 10x their revenue, right? Not even 10x their EBITDA, if you know what that is, their revenue, because of a variety of different factors. But with an online business, we're usually talking about small businesses here. So the wealth building opportunity doesn't lie in building up your online business or digital creator business so that one day you're going to sell it and become a millionaire, or you're going to go public and it's going to become a publicly traded company. That's not typically how these businesses are going to work. So the way you make your money is off of profit. And so a 30% profit margin, like If you were a restaurant owner, you would kill for a 30% profit margin. If you had a retail business, you would kill for a 30% profit margin. There's so many business models out there, even corporations, massive corporations. Very few of them are going to have a 30% profit margin. And granted, they're selling, millions of dollars or billions of dollars in revenue, so their costs are going to be higher. But a 30% net margin, net income, profit margin is a very, very healthy business. And so the profitability for a business like this is how you build your wealth. By being a business owner that has a super profitable business, you're going to be able to pay yourself well, take care of your team, build up the savings in your business that you need, the 3-month runway that we always recommend to our clients and I talk about in Profit Pillars. That's the recipe for a really financially healthy business and an awesome business. But how do you track profitability, right? Like before we get too deep in here, how are you supposed to be tracking profitability? And profitability is tracked through your bookkeeping practices. I know there's business owners out there who maybe don't really have good bookkeeping systems and their profitability is, well, how much money do I have left over in the checking account each month? That is not your profitability. It's just cash flow. How much money do you have left over in the business? Profitability is going to be your revenue minus your expenses equals your profit. And your profit margin is going to be the percentage of your revenue that you're saving as profit. So if you have $1 million a year business with a 30% profit margin, the actual profit dollars is going to be $300,000 profit. So that's what we're talking about when we say profit margin. Profit margin is going to be the percentage. So in this example, again, it's 30% for $1 million a year business. The profit dollar amount is the $300,000. Now, in order to track your profitability well, you do need to be keeping track of income, keeping track of expenses, and doing the math to figure out what's left over. We do have a bookkeeping spreadsheet that we sell on our website at evolvefinance.com that helps you to do that if you're not ready to hire a bookkeeper. But otherwise, a good bookkeeper should be tracking your business's revenue and expenses and profitability in bookkeeping software. And your profit and loss statement is going to be the report that your bookkeeper will deliver to you to show you how profitable your business is for any given period of time, whether it's last month, last quarter, or last year, or really anywhere in between. So that's how we track profitability. It's through proper bookkeeping and the profit and loss statement, or a spreadsheet that's kind of mimicking a profit and loss statement if you're doing it yourself. It's that easy. It's really... monitoring or looking over a profit and loss statement is really not that complicated. What's complicated is organizing all the data so that you can actually generate a profit and loss statement. And that's where really where you want a bookkeeper to support you with that. Now, as your business grows, what expenses should you be paying attention to the closest? And while there's going to be variation here, depending on your business model, what you sell, who your target market is, what you price your offers at, your marketing strategies, there are still some very common themes that I'll share here. Now, the way we help our clients to understand the expenses that they need to pay attention to the most, we use our profit pillar system. And our profit pillar system organizes all of a business's expenses into 4 main buckets. It's going to be your lead and conversion expense pillar. It's going to be your offer delivery expense pillar. It's going to be your labor expense pillar. And it's going to be your operating expenses pillar. And these 4 profit pillars, if you manage the expenses in each one of these pillars well, you are going to have a very profitable business. So what we do is group the main sort of expenses in an online business into each one of these profit pillars so our clients can get really quick and easy financial analysis about the health of their businesses without having to look at the full P&L. But within those pillars are some very key expenses. So if we look at the first pillar, which is the lead and conversion pillar, this is the pillar that's going to hold the majority of the direct costs associated with generating leads and converting your leads into customers. And so merchant fees, for instance, is like a very common one, because the more you sell, the more the amount you spend on merchant fees is going to go up. The less you sell, the more it's going to go down. So there's more of a direct correlation with these types of expenses. And we go into detail about all the categories in the book Profit Pillars. But these types of lead and conversion expenses tend to have a direct connection with revenue going up and down. These expenses tend to go up and down with them. And the one expense under the lead and conversion category that we're always going to want our clients to pay attention to if they're doing it in their business is their ad costs. Ad costs are a double-edged sword, because if you're spending money on advertising, hopefully you're bringing in new customers and growing your business and creating a lead generation strategy that will hopefully help to sustain your business and keep it growing. But also, if your ads aren't working, you're going to spend a lot of money on ads that aren't making you any money, or maybe you're only breaking even on, and it can really eat into your profit margins very quickly. So out of all the expenses in the lead and conversion expense category, ads are the ones that I think about the most for our clients. And if you're not spending any money on ads, that's fine. But if you are, that's one you got to pay really close attention to. And frankly, if you're waiting until you get your profit and loss statement from your bookkeeper to see how you're doing with your ad spend, it's too late. You got to be tracking your ad spend on a weekly or a daily or weekly basis to make sure that you're staying profitable with your ads. Now, when we get into the offer delivery pillar, this is the pillar that I'd say for some of our clients, it can be really impactful, but for a lot of our clients, they may not have a lot going on in offer delivery, because they themselves, as the owner, they are the one delivering the offer. They're the ones doing the coaching or the consulting, or they're the influencer and the talent that's making the content and bringing in the money. So they don't really have like a team that needs to deliver on the offer, or a lot of expenses around that need to deliver on the offer. But if you do have a lot of coaches or teachers or other people in a coaching program, or you have other consultants that you're contracting work out to, then those are going to be the types of expenses you want to pay attention to under the offer delivery. Because if you're not charging enough for your offer, or you're overpaying those people in your offer, then a lot of the money, your profitability is going to shrink, because those people are just taking up too big of a percentage of each customer that they're serving. The revenue that customer is bringing in, they're eating up too much of it. So that is one that can stand out on a profit and loss statement, but it really just depends on your model. And if you don't really have a lot of coaches or contractors that are serving your customers, then it probably isn't going to be a big deal. If you do live events, though, live events are one that you really want to pay attention to. Kind of similar to ads. If you're waiting to see how much your live event expenses were on your profit and loss statement, it's too late. You got to budget for live events much sooner. Probably a topic for another episode in the future. Now, when we get into labor costs, or the labor pillar, this pillar is going to be the majority of your contractors and or your employees. And really, this just category as a whole, the full, like pretty much it's going to consist of almost your full team. Just that whole grouping needs to be paid attention to. That whole profit pillar, the labor pillar, you got to pay close attention to, because team is expensive, but team is also really important if you want to scale, grow, or not lose your mind doing all the work yourself as the business owner. So the whole labor category, that's like the first thing my eye gravitates to when I'm looking at our clients' profit pillars, because labor it's so important, but it's a balancing act. If you spend too much on it, your profitability goes in the tank. If you don't spend enough, you might not be able to take on more clients or customers, or you might be burning out with the lack of support from other people on your team. So the whole labor pillar is really important. And then when we get into the operating expenses pillar, this one, again, the whole pillar can add up and make a big impact on your profitability, but there's really only a couple categories that I'm usually paying attention to there that can really be deal breakers that you really want to pay close attention to keep your profitability in a good spot. Those are going to be things like continuing education. A lot of small business owners spend more money than ever on coaches and consultants and memberships and masterminds, things like that, that can eat into profit really quickly. Software can also be very expensive, and it can add up very quickly as well. It typically isn't going to make or break a business's profitability, but depending on how big your business is, software can add up really quickly and definitely make more of an impact in the early stages of your business's profitability, not so much as your business gets much larger. Beyond that, I mean, there's not a lot that you really need to focus on there unless, you're traveling a whole lot. Then travel expenses are going to be a bigger deal for you. If you are renting an external office space and not working from home, then rent is going to be a bigger thing for you. So this is why once you get your profit pillar sort of reporting set up in your business, then you can go in and see, okay, of my 4 profit pillars, which individual expense categories are making up the most of that pillar. And then those are the areas you get to focus on. But I did want to share just in general, where do I see online businesses and digital creators spend the most amount of money? And it's going to be in the categories I just mentioned. Now, we talked about the difference between profit and a profit margin. It's really important for us to understand here, the way we stay profitable is to spend less money on our business expenses than what we're generating in terms of revenue. But I always like to say sometimes cutting expenses isn't the path to profitability, because I have talked with our clients or other business owners where the dollar amount that our clients are spending on different expenses really isn't that high. The percentage of the client's revenue that they're spending on something like labor or lead and conversion expenses, yes, it might be high and it's causing their profitability to be less than 30%. But sometimes I can look at the percentage and go, well, okay, the percentage of your revenue going to your profit pillars is high, but sometimes the issue is we just need to generate more revenue. Because there is sort of a baseline of expenses that almost every online business or digital creator business needs to maintain. We can't just all of a sudden cancel our email software, right? Or our CRM, because we need to manage an email list and we need to be able to email our email list to generate revenue. Or we're not going to all of a sudden just cut our assistant if we're only paying them a couple $100 a month and they're freeing you up to focus on revenue generating activities, then it's like, why would you cut that? A lot of the times it's just a matter of you got to sell more, and that will fix your profitability issues. Now, the trap is larger businesses think, well, I should just sell more and then that will fix our profitability. But the larger your business becomes, the more your profit pillars become crucial. There's usually going to be opportunities to think about operational efficiencies or changing organizational strategies that will help with profitability in a way that it's going to be more around managing expenses, managing those profit pillars. But if your business is on the smaller side, a lot of the times your profit pillars are less of an issue. It's still important to know, what am I spending my money on and which pillars are having the biggest impact here. But also, sometimes we just got to go sell more. We just got to generate some more revenue, and that can fix a lot of the profitability issues that small businesses can sometimes have. So we did focus today on digital creators and on online businesses in general. I'm going to do another episode for service providers, for online service providers, because we have a little bit of different expectations here. So if you have more of a service-based business, just know that the profitability targets are going to be a little different, but you also have some different advantages as a service business. So we will cover that on a future episode here coming up soon. So if you're a service provider, stay tuned. Otherwise, if you want to learn more about our profit pillars, the best place to go is to check out the book Profit Pillars anywhere online that books are sold. Would love for you to check out the book and support the podcast by purchasing the book. Otherwise, go to evolvefinance.com if you're looking for more accounting support or want to find more learning materials and tools that we're able to provide online businesses and modern small businesses to help just make the financial side of their businesses a heck of a lot easier. But thank you as always for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.